Amazon's Jeff Bezos is going to put in $100 million to buy up more single-family homes across the United States. What could possibly go wrong? As we see more and more of big businesses, big companies buying up more single-family homes throughout the United States, we're seeing a shortage, a shrinking supply of affordable housing across the United States. And it's a lot due to big hedge funds, corporate investors, and some other things too. Now, I will tell you there is some hope on the horizon. It looks like Congress is addressing this and they're going to be having a bill out there. Today, we're going to be talking about what Jeff Bezos is doing and how he's doing it. We're going to talk about institutional investors, and we're going to be talking about the bill that just came out by Congress that hopefully they'll vote on. And I'll give you my opinion about that too. I want yours at the end too. Let's see what you have to say about it. Bezos-backed company surpasses $100 million in single-family acquisitions. He was the founder of Amazon, a company that started off as just selling online books, but now ends up basically taking over the world. He invested in this company called Arrived Homes. They buy single family homes, and then the investment firm itself is selling like little pieces of that investment, almost like a REIT. So anybody can get into the real estate game by owning just a little, almost like a stock. And it's one of those ways that they've made a cash cow. They're not the only ones that have been doing this. Hedge funds have been doing it as well. This year, Arrived Homes became the first company to legally sell shares of individual rental properties to non-accredited investors. Investors on real estate platform now funded over 294 single-family homes with a total value of $109 million. Bezos' investment in the company seed round appears to have been a well-timed, since skyrocketing home prices followed by rising mortgage rates have helped homeownership rate in the U.S. at its lowest level since 1970. So as you know, just like all these investment companies, they have been buying up the most affordable, smaller homes. Bezos companies, Arrived Homes, is buying throughout Seattle. It's no longer just in the most affordable area of the Sun Belt. They're doing it in other areas, and then they're packaging them up for investors where you can only have to buy a piece of it in order to make some money off of it. This is very similar to what they have done in other areas of real estate. If you don't know, many of these hedge funds have bought up very small manufactured home parks. They have turned these into utter cash cows. They own the manufactured home, but the land underneath it is leased. They up the rents for those people so their investors can make more money. Investment firms absolutely love them. And you're starting to see more and more manufactured parks lose a lot of their residents, but they're not a shortage of people that are willing to go ahead and rent out those homes. The investors got the home for basically free because the people couldn't afford that were living there before the rents that once they went up because their income is fixed, and that's why they're living there in the first place. There's no laws on the books for people renting in manufactured home parks. And as these deep pockets of people that run hedge funds, just look at healthcare. We privatized healthcare because we thought that was going to make everything less expensive for us. And what has happened? We're paying out the nose for healthcare. And they're going to do that same thing with housing. You watch. So last November, JP Morgan Chase announced that they'll have a joint venture in acquiring a $1 billion worth of single-family rentals from MetLife Investment Management. That institutions owned up to 700,000 single-family rentals in 2022 and expects that number to reach 7.6 million homes by 2030. Now think about that. According to the National Association of Home Builders, they say we're only short about 3 million homes. But if you look at other statistics, we're short about 5 to 7 million homes. Number right there. If they're going to consume 7.6 million homes more, that means that the shortage is even going to grow even more. So that means that home building is still going to cost us a lot more in the future. This Yahoo Finance article goes on to say, while some people blame investors like Bezos for contributing to the housing shortage, others see this as fractional ownership through platforms like Arrived as their only option to invest in real estate in today's market. And you don't think that's the plan? Let me put on my conspiracy hat. You don't think the powers that be that have a lot more money than us, like this is your second place prize because you'll never be able to afford the house because we've crippled the supply so incredibly much. Here's this little shred of real estate and we'll take care of everything and you can make a little bit of money off of it. It's kind of like when they took our pensions away and gave us 401ks. They're trying to sell this to us as a way to invest in real estate. And yes, that could be part of your portfolio, but that shouldn't be your only way to be able to get into real estate. Speaking of investors making terrible quotes that I do not agree with, listen to Mr. Wonderful.
Private equity is an important element of the economy. It kind of is the spatula that cleans everything up, and that's exactly what's going to happen here.
If you guys don't recognize him, that's Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. He says that, private equity is not our enemy and that we're kind of villainizing them, just like anything. When rich people tell you, don't worry about it, look over here, it's because they're doing exactly what we think they're doing, which is trying to suck up as much real estate as possible, making our younger generations turn into renters for life. No mortgage payments, to just go ahead and pay Amazon. But there is hope on the horizon because the Congress has gotten together and they have arranged, believe it or not, with Republicans and Democrats to address this, and it's going against the hedge funds. My husband and I was a hairdresser and my husband was selling cars at the time when we bought our first home. With the income that we make now, if you were to adjust it for inflation, we couldn't buy the same house that we bought as our very first home in Orlando, Florida. But when it actually hits the floor, you know as well as I do, these representatives are going to couple them up with every reason under the sun why they can't vote for it. And it's because all politicians, every single one of them, no matter what side of the aisle they are facing on, they're all paid for, a lot of these, by lobbyists that own these hedge funds. They're all paid this way. Their campaigns are all funded by these hedge funds. And lobbyists are the ones that make sure that those bills never get passed. And I know darn well you saw all those videos that came out several months ago that said all the investors are pulling out and they're no longer buying single family homes to rent out. And I knew then, and if you watch this channel, that was all hogwash. They've never stopped. And if you live in an affordable area, it may not be very affordable for much longer if we allow these institutional investors to keep buying up homes and using them just for rental properties. But all is not lost. Hopefully we can push our government officials to actually vote on some of these things and put some bills in front of Congress, and we can force them to stop all of this institutional investing. If you happen to live in an area that has an HOA, whether you love an HOA or not, you can actually fight against this. You could actually put a covenant in your restrictions that doesn't allow for either A, any rental properties, or B, has a limit on how many rental properties are allowed in your specific neighborhood. You don't want too many homes in your area owned by one institutional investor because they can dictate how much homes are being bought and sold for. I don't want the institutional investors to dictate the market. They're already doing enough damage as it is. I have to tell you this though. David Howard of the National Rental Home Council told the Times that it's not an issue of institutional investors as much as it's a lack of action by home builders. So he wants to blame the home builders for not building enough homes. Policies really need to be shaped and crafted so they can supply the production of investment, development, and new housing. So he's basically saying that these kinds of bills will stop institutional investors from investing in real estate and in causing more of a problem because builders won't build because the investors can't invest the way that they want to. I think that's hogwash. I wonder who's paying him, honestly, because it really makes no sense. These institutional investors are buying already existing homes that people would have normally bought for their first home. So whenever somebody is always on the positive side of institutional investors, I always want to know who's paying them, or are they independently wealthy themselves? Because this is not a good idea for the public as far as I'm concerned. But you let me know in the comment section if you think I'm just blowing smoke and hot air and you don't think this is an issue. Let me know in the comments below because I'd like to hear what you have to say. And if you find any solutions to this problem, let me know that as well. To watch more videos about the affordability crisis here in the United States and what's going on with the American dream, you're going to be watching these videos right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.